Hi there! Today is Sunday, August 15th, and that makes this the week 32 Return to Creativity update with your hostess, Jennifer Vanderbeek of scrapsoflife.com. Hi! How are you doing? What have you been up to? I'm all ears. I would really love to hear what you're up to. Um, as for myself, it's been kind of a busy week. Um, let's see, let's kind of run it down. I started Monday and Tuesday, I had book club meetings on both of those days. One was a book club I've been to before and really enjoyed. It meets at the public library, and this week we had, or this month, we actually had the author. It was a local author's book that we were reading, and so she came in and led a discussion on it, and so that was really neat. And I got my book signed by her. So yeah, that was cool. The book in question is Banjo Man by June Titus, and it's really interesting. It's kind of about like family secrets and histories and all that sort of thing, with like a musical backdrop. And yeah, it's really cool. Good story. Fairly quick read, I think. I mean, yes, I'm a quick reader, but I think for most people it was a fairly quick read. The second book club was a new book club for me, and it's one that I wasn't able to participate in before because it meets on Tuesday afternoons at 3 once a month. But still during the workday. So of course, my schedule really didn't allow me to scoot out to do that as much as I would have loved to. And it's called Book to Art. And for this month, we read Trust Exercises by Susan Choi. And that's a trippy book. I think I might have mentioned it in a previous week's update. Kind of a trippy book. But the way the Book to Art Club works apparently is, we all read the book, or there's a book assigned that's and then when we come in for the book club meeting, it's not just sitting around and talking about the book. There's an art project that goes with it, and the person at the library who hosts, she has supplies, and she kind of comes up with her project, and then she gives us the supplies, and we can kind of do our own interpretation of it. So before I show you what I did, it's it's kind of fun because I mean I had started a project on my own, and I think I showed it last week, but and I did not take that with me because I had spoken with somebody to verify that no, we do something there, which is great. It's very low pressure. You don't have to be an artist or anything like that, but it's kind of like a way of thinking about the book, with your hands, not just your mind. And I am all for that. So there's the scene towards the beginning of the book, which takes place for the most part at a performing arts, at and around a performing arts high school in Texas. And the theater teacher turns off the lights so that the room is just completely black, no light, everything's pitch black, you cannot see anything. And he wants the kids, the students, to move. These are freshmen, and they're moving, and so they're like, you're supposed to like crawl around or move through the room and encounter people. And the narration talks about, it's like you might recognize somebody from, the perfume they wear, or she wore a specific type of jeans that had like this embroidery or something on it. And so that's how she and the boy in the book, that's how he found her, was he knew it was her because of her jeans. Anyway, so there's this kind of idea that, she gave us like these puppets because the leader kind of envisioned the theater director as kind of like a little puppet master. it's a trippy book because it's all about perceptions and trust and everything, and it's really interesting. It was shocking in only in the terms of when I started reading it, and I'm like, oh, this is a book club book. But yeah, and I think some other people had similar reactions too. But so what I did was I made one person out of the, the paper doll puppet pieces, and then I just took the other pieces because it's, when you're just roaming around in a dark room, it's just pieces. It was almost dehumanizing and stuff, some of the ways that he stripped them down. The chairs were used in the cover art, and the folding chairs, and they go to another trust exercise, and I just kind of stuck them on there. Anyway, so that was really interesting. I had fun with it, and it was a little bit like, going back to a school art class, but with grown-ups, and we just kind of had a good time talking, and I think I kind of hit it off with some of the people there, so I'm really looking forward to going back. Anyway, another thing related to the library is that apparently the public library system in Georgia, in our area, there's like 6 counties or something, is doing a drawing in the margins project, and this is a sketchbook project. And for those of you who are like, wait, haven't I heard of something about a sketchbook project before? You may have, if you've been online long enough and travel in art and creativity circles, or know people who do, then you may have heard about the Brooklyn Arts Library Sketchbook Project. And this is inspired by that, but it's not affiliated or anything. This is a local version of that. And, and I'd always wanted to participate in that sketchbook project, which went on for years. And, basically they send you the sketchbook, you decorate it to within the, you use it per one of the themes that is available, and you send it back, and it becomes part of a traveling collection. And I don't think it's still going on in Brooklyn. I don't think it tours anymore, but it might. I don't know. I haven't really looked into it in a while. But like I said, I'd wanted to be able to. I just never had the time, and whenever they were doing the, the open calls and stuff, or had the kits available for ordering, it was a nominal fee, but even still, at those times, it just never really worked out. So it was really cool to be able to I was already at the library, but swing by the library and pick up a kit. And so you get this little sketchbook, little blank sketchbook. It's about 16 pages, I think, inside. And, you get a little information packet about it, and then here are the themes. I'm still debating on which theme I'm going to do. I'm leaning towards Tails and Tales, and I think I have an idea about what I want to do with that, but I don't know. And then basically, you turn it back into the library, and they'll barcode it, and it'll become part of the library's collection, and I just think that is the coolest thing. So, yeah, I picked that up. I got my people interactions in early this week, and did some creative stuff, definitely creative stuff. And so yeah, that was really cool. So what else? So book-wise, going from other people's books to my own books. First thing, I had the first book of the Wedding Tarot Trilogy. A little bit of a tongue twister for me today. And book 1 of the Eden Creek Mystery, the Cozy Mystery series that I'm working on right now. I had I had the printed out, and I took it to the local UPS store to have it spiral bound so that I could edit it more easily. I know plenty of people edit on the computer. And yes, that's where the changes will ultimately be made, but it's so much easier for me to sit there with a pencil and highlighters and scribble stuff. Not to mention, I'm sure there's been studies or something, but I know I've read that it's a lot easier to miss things on the screen than it is in print. It's just, something about it. I should probably look that up, because when I quote that, you know, I should have like the science or the data or something to back that up. But yeah, anyway, I know it's true for me. And so yes, I've got those bound, and I have them already in the backpack that I'm taking with me when I travel this week. And so yeah, I'm going to start working on the edits for those. As for book 2 of Eden Creek, I don't know if I mentioned last week, but I actually came up with the name. I was having the toughest time coming up with the name for the second book. The first book, it just Fool's Paradise, because the book titles are in the order of the major arcana of a tarot deck, the traditional tarot deck. And so the Fool is the first one. Fool's Paradise. Boom, easy, done. The Magician is the second card, and yeah, I was like, okay, magic something. I was like working with like magic dust for a while, and I'm like, oh, that's really not the it's not the feeling I want. But I finally came up, and I was like, duh, I did some brainstorming, I did some online searches for just, lists of phrases with magic in them, or something to jog my mind, because my mind was just not doing it. And duh, I came up with, I have settled on, at least, up till now, magic beans. And the inciting incident does take place in a coffee shop, and I also have the main character going and buying some over-engineered coffee espresso maker thing, and that she's having trouble figuring it out. And so but yeah, there is a thread of coffee that runs through, I guess, a stream of coffee, a cup of coffee, I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, Magic Beans is going to be the title of the second book, and I'm very happy to have that out of the way, because for me, creatively, I usually come up with titles first. I know that that's not the same for everyone. In fact, a lot of people, it's like, oh, the title comes later. If I don't have the title usually at the beginning, I am absolutely aimless. But I wasn't planning on starting the draft when I did. So I knew, I kind of had a vague idea, but then that vague idea ended up not being what the story was about anyway. So I just started writing, and here we go. So came up with a title. Actually, I did that last week, but I just don't think I mentioned it. And then this past week, I've written another 10,000 words or so. I am at the midway point of the story, and kind of the end of Act 2 for a 4-act structure. And I got to the end of that chapter, and I'm like, okay, what happens next? So I had to spend a little bit of time just kind of figuring out how to get from the midpoint to the end. I knew what needed to happen, but the who's, the how's, the what's, the why's, I had not gotten that far yet. So I sat down, and again, the visual, tactile, in person, not on the computer, and I have these little cards. Actually, they are leftover Project Life cards. They're scrapbooking cards, but they're the kinds that you would put in, like, they're in the little the system where you let's rewind. Okay, so Project Life is the like easy scrapbooking system that uses page protectors that are like subdivided in certain shapes and designs, and then you get the cards, and you can either put your photos in or the cards or whatever, and the idea is to kind of, simplify it and get things done quicker. And I did one of those albums for my mom years and years ago as a gift, and I had a ton of cards left over, the little insert cards. So when I was working on the coloring book, I started to use those as my index cards to try and organize everything. And then when it came time to start plotting out this, well, I wanted my index cards. I wanted cards of some sort. So yeah, I've just been going through, and so hey, reusing or repurposing stuff that was just sitting there collecting dust, relatively speaking, even better, right? So yeah, and it allows me to kind of shuffle. I can just write things down on a card. If I get an idea randomly while I'm writing something else, I can write it down on the card and just set it to the side. And when I start organizing the next act or the next scene sequence or something, I can just shuffle them, flip them over when I'm done with them, big check mark, whatever. And so yeah, I have the last half of the book, more or less the pivotal moments, plotted out or figured out, and so now I can start writing the next part of the book. So I'm happy about that. And let's see, what else, what else, what else? I know that's already a lot for the week. I made sure to have this front and center to A, remind me, and B, so I could show. I knit again this week. I actually did some knitting. Yay! This is something I had started last year. It is the Breathe and Hope shawl from designer Casapinka, and it is knit with 2 different colors of yarn. In my case, they're very similar to one another. There's like an orangey and then a pinky. And but the way the pattern uses them is they alternate in different ways throughout the pattern in each section. And I was thinking actually, what knitting project am I going to take with me when I travel? Because I always have a knitting project with me when I go out of town. And just something to do either while I'm in the airport or just hanging out, or just, have some downtime and I just have to have something to do with my hands. And this was one of the projects that I counted up at the beginning of the year as a UFO. And yeah, so I was about to here. And so I had a couple more rows to do for this section, and then Friday night while we were watching TV and hanging out, I finished this section here, and these are the little stripies. So yeah, that's the project I'm going to take with me when I go out of town. I'm debating on if I should take a second project because it is a 2-week trip, but I don't know. It'll probably depend on room in the luggage and stuff. Because I do have another kit. Whoops. Here, I got yarn flying all over the place. I have this kit here, which is another Casapinka design. It's called the Magical Thinking. It's a pullover shawl. Pretties. And it's in this gray, white, and kind of a smoky charcoal black. Yeah, this is a kit that I'd purchased at some point because, go into my local yarn store, Fuzzy Goat, and just, ooh, that's pretty, ooh, that's pretty. Yeah. I usually don't buy kits. The Magical Thinking actually was just a pattern that was for local. It was through local yarn stores last year during the lockdown, the initial lockdown, and yeah, and I just kind of went through my yarn and decided, oh, okay, I'm going to use these two, single skeins single balls that I have. Magical Thinking is one of the few kits I've bought, and it might have been during one of the sales. But yeah, so that would be another easy thing to breathe. Not necessarily because the patterns are easy. I mean, really when it breaks down, and what I've learned just from doing the Breathe and Hope is that it's the sections aren't technically difficult, but they do take a little bit of, you do kind of have to pay attention, but you can get into a groove. And looking at the picture on the front of this kit, I'm persuaded to think that that would also be the case here, because I see some simple ribbing, I see some like repetitive bits, sections of patterns, and so I think this could actually be a really good travel project. So I don't know, if I've got the space in the suitcase, then I might toss that in just as a backup in case I finish Breathe and Hope while I'm out there and I need something else. Of course, you know, it's not like I haven't already scoped out at least 2 local yarn stores in the Phoenix and Mesa area that, you know, but shopping is not the reason why I'm going out there. And then finally, creative-wise, I just finished doing meal preps for the coming week. Yes, I'm going out of town, but Todd's going to be here, and so I just kind of wanted to go ahead and do my usual 3 days worth of meal preps, which, since I won't be needing some of those, you know, should get him through the week itself. And not that he isn't perfectly, you know, capable and able and all that stuff of you know, fending for himself, but it's my week. You know, I want to at least you know, start off on the right foot. You know, do my part. And of course, you know, yeah, it's been other mundane things like laundry and touching up my hair color. Got rid of the grays for a little while longer, so that I can start packing and do all that stuff and get everything together. So yeah, I weather and winds, and I don't necessarily mean the literal winds, being favorable, I will fly out Wednesday afternoon, and I will be back 2 weeks later on the 1st. So the next 2 updates will be done from my phone. Hopefully I'll be able to upload those okay. But yeah, so they might also be real quick too, because I'm mostly going to be writing and editing up there, creativity-wise. I know my partner and we've got certain plans that are already set, but most of the time, you know, he's going to be working from home, and so I will also be working. I'll be working on the book. But yeah, so I should still be able to do updates the next 2 Sundays. Might be Saturdays, might be Sundays. I don't know. We'll see. But they'll probably be the cell phone ones. Yep. So I think that's it. Okay. So for your week ahead, I hope that you stay safe, stay safe, stay healthy. It's kind of getting scary again out there. Not to fearmonger or anything, but you know, more and more people are contracting the, you know, COVID. My brother is actually one of those. To my knowledge, you know, he's doing okay. I haven't heard that he's been put in the hospital or anything like that, but somebody Todd knows through work has been in the hospital since earlier this week. And yeah, I mean, there are surges going on in certain areas. I will be doing my absolute best to, of course, stay safe and healthy myself as I travel. Got the masks ready, wash hands, hand sanitizer, all that good stuff. Yeah, but just, you know, keep all that in mind, and then try and do something creative, something fulfilling for yourself, to kind of keep your mind off of all the crazy outside. You know, I hate using crazy in that kind of offhand way. All of the chaos and stress outside. That's a much better word usage, I think. All right, that is it for me. Week 32. Wow, it's kind of boggles my mind that we're still going here, week 32. But yeah, who knows? By the next one, I may have more to show finished on that shawl. And best of all, of course, it didn't hurt my hands, so that was the thing I was waiting on. Haven't gone back to the Christmas ball ornaments, but you know, there's time for everything. All right, so be good to yourselves, and I will chat back with you in another week. Bye-bye.